let's begin to talk about Jaws. And why did you feel it was really important to talk about Jaws' 50th anniversary?
Well, because when I turned 50, it was a big deal. And I asked myself a lot of questions. Am I still relevant? Am I still young? Am I still, all those questions. Can I still inspire people? Should I retire? And frankly, I was asking that of Jaws itself. I was thinking, is this movie still relevant? Is it still relevant for new generations who are so used to CGI? And the answer, frankly, was yes. And pretty much from the get-go, I got that answer. But I just thought it was important to celebrate, but in a way that was much more geared toward an appreciation and understanding as to what makes this legacy worth talking about. And, I accomplished that through talking to Stephen mainly, and getting from him the perspective of the human aspect of making that film, and what it did to him in a good way and sometimes in a bad way, and also surrounding him with new directors who are today benefiting from what Jaws did and what Jaws specifically did to them or for them. So I I quickly realized that it was a film that needed to exist, and I just realized the impact that this movie still has, and how everybody wants to wear Jaws. I remember, I don't remember the first movie I ever saw, but I remember going to this movie theater and looking constantly behind me to the beam of light and where the image was coming from. And then opening the door to the projection booth, and it was overheated and it was dungy and grungy, and there was this guy in a blouse, and he said, well, let me show you something. Each time you see a dot on the top right hand corner of the frame, that means I have to change projectors. So every 10, 15 minutes, he had to change projectors. Well, I felt he had given me the key to the greatest secret on earth. And I realized at that point that I was fascinated with the behind the scenes of cinema as opposed to necessarily the life of it on the screen. But what I I was looking at really was this beautiful image on the screen, and outside of it was chaos.
And I would like to begin by asking about your relationship with Mr. Steven Spielberg, because I know you've been working with him forever. So how did it all begin?
Oh my God. Well, it was around the time that I had moved to Los Angeles from New York, and there was a big revolution happening in home entertainment, meaning, videos and laser discs. And someone who worked with Steven had heard about my love for his films, and so I met with him completely, by fluke, and he gave me a chance to do a first documentary with Steven, and immediately followed that documentary was one about Jaws. And that kind of spearheaded my career, because this field of documentaries alongside movies became a thing. So I was a little bit of a pioneer, if I may, in that area. And then as documentaries continued to become more and more legitimate aspect of storytelling and film in and a specific genre, but on par with everything else. Before, Jaws meant to me the greatest inspiration I've ever received in my creative life. It's the movie that really got me to think about my career in film, and got me excited about moving to America, and got me to really want to make a contribution to some degree to cinema. And what Jaws means to me today is job security, because Jaws have been able to maintain a relationship with Steven Spielberg and to do incredible documentaries that, in a way, are all, touching some of the people who were part of that era, like Faye Dunaway or John Williams, who was part of making it, or other people I've met thanks to my passion for Jaws. So it's almost, Jaws is like an origin story then and today. If you're talking about Steven himself, what surprised me the most was really the sort of PTSD that he had after making the film, and eventually surviving it, but sort of how long it stayed with him, that feeling of insecurity around the making of it. But if you're talking about the other people that I interviewed for this, the filmmakers, it was pretty inspiring to talk to everyone from Jim Cameron to Emily Blunt and shark scientists like Philippe Cousteau, because you just realize that this is a movie and a novel by Peter Benchley that has impacted so many different aspects of our culture, and
Absolutely.
and has given birth to so many other filmmakers or scientists or authors. So Jaws is a movement. Really, it was a cultural benchmark in cinema.
En el canal de YouTube del Tiempo encontrarán noticias de Colombia y el mundo, también series originales, documentales y reportes de nuestros corresponsales. Suscríbase y active la campanita.